today we're taking a look at this, the Puck Puck, which lets you enjoy slow dripped cold brew coffee through your Aeropress, at home or on the go. Now, slow dripped or cold brew coffee is brewed using, cold water rather than hot. The lower energy extraction process creates a smoother and sweeter flavour, apparently, which is great on its own with milk, or you can even use it in a cocktail. The Puck Puck sits atop your Aeropress to create a slow flow of ice cold water through your coffee grounds. And for around £30 or $35, you can get the Puck Puck device and the vessel. So, it's a fraction of the cost compared with a larger, more established slow drip setup. But is it any good? Let's unbox it and give it a try. Okay, so here we go, the Puck Puck box. Really nice, smart little container here. Let's get it open, seeing as cold brew season is very much upon us. So at the top here, you've got the actual Puck Puck device. This is the valve, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Clipped into the bottom of it is the splash filter. Now this sits inside your Aeropress so that when the water drops onto it, it disperses it amongst the coffee grounds instead of just landing in the same place, creating a well. So you can unscrew this, remove the packaging, and then that's all you need really, plus the Aeropress to get things going. But as I said, this box includes the 500 milliliter water vessel. So that's this bad boy, which sits on top of the Puck Puck. Now, what they've designed here is a universal screw system. So you can basically use any compatible mineral water bottle. All you need to do is cut the top of it and it'll screw into the Puck Puck, which is why I said you can use this on the go. Also inside, we've just got a lid for the vessel, just to stop things landing in it if you're doing a 3 or 4 hour brew. And then a small sleeve with our instruction guide. So what you need to know, just a couple of steps, I think it's 4 steps, the stuff you need to put in it, and also information about cleaning it up, and the app. Yeah, that's right, the Puck Puck comes with a drip calibration app, so you can perfect the drip rate of your cold brew. If that isn't perfection of coffee geekery, I don't know what is. The app's really straightforward. All you do is load it up and tap every time a drip's coming through. It'll tell you whether that's the right rate or whether you need to screw it in to slow it down or unscrew it to speed it up. It's really straightforward to get this going. You just basically stack everything on top of one another and let the magic happen. So starting at the bottom, obviously you've got a jug that the cold brew is going to drip into. And you've got to make sure that this jug is big enough to hold the 400 milliliters of water that you're going to put in, plus the melted ice. Don't make the mistake that I did the first time I did this, because you'll end up with an overflow if you try and just get it straight into a small glass or mug. All you need to do is add a paper filter to your Aeropress filter cap, fill up the lower chamber with your coffee grounds, and then chuck the splash filter on top of these. If you're using slightly older coffee grounds, you can pre-wet them. You just got to make sure that you deduct the amount of water you've added in the pre-wetting from the amount you're going to add to the vessel at the top. You just then slide on your Puck Puck, attach the vessel, add your ice and your water. Then all you do is slowly turn the Puck Puck very slightly, looking inside for the drips start to come through. Basically, this is a valve which releases water at a controlled rate. It's that simple. According to the app and instructions, you're looking for around 50 drops a minute, which is why the app is so perfect, because you don't have to wait there for a whole minute. You can just tap it away for a couple of seconds and it will let you know whether that rate is correct. If not, just unscrew it or screw it tighter until you find that sweet spot. Now, because of the colour of the Aeropress being a dark plastic, it can be slightly tricky to see the drops coming through. But what I find is hold it up to a window or a light and look at the top where the drops are actually coming out as opposed to the bottom where they're landing, and you should get enough to at least start your counting. Okay, so it sounds super straightforward. Let's give it a go ourselves and see what the fuss is about. Okay, so they recommend using 38 grams of medium ground coffee. I've got Taylor's Lazy Sunday. It's a 3 roast, so it's quite nice and light, gentle and easy going. I think this will make a beautiful cold brew. Nice and sweet, nice and smooth, but not too overpowering. They need 400 mils of water, which will go in here. There is a marker on the side up to 500, so you can fill it up kind of just shy of there, and then 100 grams of ice, which I found is basically just a standard ice cube tray's worth. So something like this. Now let's put it together. Okay, so we're going to start off just by loading up our Aeropress. So filter paper going in the bottom, and then the cap on the Aeropress. We're going to add in our coffee. So as I said, that's 38 grams of medium grounds. And then the first Puck Puck part is this splash filter. So that just sits on top of the coffee, so level them off and then drop that in. As I said, that just disperses the water as it drops in. Next up, we just add the puck. So I've screwed it up all the way, not too tight because we will be unscrewing it. And all that does is just sits on top, nice and flush. And then we sit it on top of a jug. So I'm just using this large vessel here. I know this can hold probably about 700 mils of water, so we are good to go on that. Sit that on top, screw on our vessel, add in the ice, and then pour in our 400 mils of water. There we go. Pop the lid on. And now all we need to do is slowly unscrew the top part of the puck, leaving the bottom part attached to the Aeropress, and that will start to release water dripping through. Once we see a decent flow, then we can start to really tweak it using the app. So let's just see here how long it takes. Start to go through. Okay, there we go. Pretty heavy flow to begin with, so turning it the other way. It's fine art, this one. Okay, so we've got our drip counter here. I'm now going to tweak this to find that perfect rate. So at the moment we're on 94 drops per minute. As I said, we need to drop that down to the sweet spot around 50 and 60. So I'm going to do that up just a little bit more. Again, that's a bit too fast. We're on 80. Oh, that's nice and slow. Too slow that time. Bingo. There we go, 61 drops per minute. Green light on the app. We are good to go. Now this will be going for about 2.5 to 3 hours, but we should get a nice filled vessel of beautiful, fresh, cold brew at the end of it all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that for the time it needs, and then check back in with you guys, and we'll give it a try and see what it's like. See you in 3 hours, or for you, about 3 seconds. Okay, so it's been about 2.5, 3 hours, and our chamber is empty, and we've got a delicious dark cold brew ready to go. We've got a few more drips just coming through, but I can't wait. I've got to give this one a try. Okay, so let's take off the puck and the Aeropress. I'm going to pour it from this container into something a bit nicer to drink out of. Beautiful dark colour on there. So as I said, you can mix this with milk, chuck some ice in there to make a nice longer drink, or maybe use it in a cocktail, espresso martini, something like that. You can bottle it up and store it in the fridge for around 2 weeks before it will start to maybe lose some of its flavour. So yeah, you can whip up a big old batch, store it for a few weeks, and you've got excellent coffee to enjoy every morning without any other fuss. So let's give it a try. Oh yes. Lovely, really nice dark chocolate, beautiful roast, but a little bit more sweet than if you'd made it with hot water. Not sure about the smoothness. I think because the water is so cold, you're not really getting that nice creamy, smooth mouthfeel, but yeah, it's crisp, clean, but at the same time so full of flavour. Beautifully strong as well. There's no worry about that being watered down or too thin. It's full of body, full of flavour, but so cool and refreshing. I love it. So yeah, I think for 30 quid, $35, it's a great nerdy coffee accessory to get your hands on. Really easy to use. Cleanup is just a bit tricky, but I mean, when compared with the Aeropress, that's one of the joyful things about using the Aeropress, is that the cleanup is a dream. I mean, you just got to deal with the coffee grounds and just give it all a rinse. But yeah, I recommend this if you're looking for a fun coffee accessory to make beautiful, beautiful cold brew as summer approaches. So yeah, that just leaves me to say thanks so much for watching. I'm going to go and enjoy this one in the sun. Cheers.